Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth, the State of the Union Avoidance Show.
Your halftime alternative.
Yeah, the halftime alternative. Oh my gosh, yes.
Everybody wants to hear all that shit.
No,
Too much lying going on tonight, so I ain't got time for it.
way too much.
Yeah, give me the cliff notes.
Go ahead and take the top of the show, young, while I'm finishing this up real quick.
Hey, Charles, how you doing, Charles?
Hey man, I'm hanging in here. I'm in protest, like I said. I'm the alternative to the State of the Union. I don't want to hear nothing that lying fool got to say.
You're not lying.
I mean, people they love to lie because nobody wants to live in the truth.
Yeah.
That's why our show is The Truth Behind the Truth. And in most episodes, we've been accused of complaining. So
we have.
And we've been it's okay to complain. There ain't nothing wrong in complaining about the truth.
Yeah.
I live in reality. I don't live in the in this facade that everything's gonna be off. Well, I believe that things will get better, but let's just live in the reality. Things are not better. And there are people who are being laid off of work right now. Jobs are now shutting down. I work for a chip company, and if anybody pays real attention to the show and sometimes I wear my company shirt on here. But I went in yesterday, and the guy was complaining about the price of chips, and he said, "Why the chip prices are so high?" I said, "You know what? I ask that question all the time. But do you think about? I mean, have you ever thought about the economy and how things are going up? Tariffs are now dropping on product that we need as a necessity, food, gas. I mean, I know you voted for it, and I'm working out there in Trump land. They voted for this, and now you're complaining about prices.
Always.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, when you think you're hurting others by you're hurting yourself. It comes with a hefty price tag. I mean, you don't want people to have certain things that you think you ought to have because of who you are, then that comes with a hefty price tag. We brought this up in the show the other day. Dr. R saying the only way to bring down this deficit, this national deficit, is to up the age of employment.
You mean lower the age of employment?
Lower the age of employment and up the age for retirement.
Yeah. Not all the money they spend on DHS and all that other stuff, but let's just make the taxpayers more.
Instead of the rich just paying their fair share of taxes. What's wrong in paying your fair share since you like to come over here and bring opportunity to us working class folk? I mean, what's wrong in paying your fair share? But then on top of that, the working class people, us being who we are and not paying attention, we protect those who don't believe in paying their fair share. We uplift those with prestige and name and money and value, and we don't look at the value within ourselves. We don't believe in our own self-preservation. We want to, and that's the kicker to all of this stuff that's going on. If you want affordability, you got to understand where it's got to come from. If the economy rely on the people to get out there and shop and do what we need to do to keep the economy rolling, why can't we self-preserve? Why do we not believe in self-preservation? Why do we want to keep uplifting those who take instead of giving and giving and giving? I don't understand it. But hey, to each his, if you want to be the pimp, if you want somebody to pimp you and you be the hoe, I mean, I can't blame the pimp for pimping. I can't blame the pastor. I can't blame the congressman. I can't blame the CEO. I can't blame the billionaire, the trillionaire, the royals. I can't blame if the subjects like to be hoes. I can't. I mean, you just got to sit down and just take it between the legs. I hate to say it. I mean, closed legs don't get fed. What did that come off of, Charles? No, closed mouths and closed legs. What movie did that come off of, Charles? I
forget, but I know what you're talking about.
Closed legs don't get fed. So we working class folks are hoes out here in these streets, and we got to open our legs just to get fed, I suppose.
Oh God.
Hey, they say it ain't tricking.
Right?
That's why the country.
They say it ain't tricking if you got it.
There's been too many legs been open.
What you said, Charles?
Go ahead, Charles.
You say it ain't tricking if you got it. So hey.
Oh, okay. Okay. We can go with that one.
Well, Nicki Minaj says pimping ain't. What did she say? Pimping ain't easy. What was that song? I don't know. It's been a while.
Pimping ain't easy, but it pay the bills.
Shit.
Pink ass wig out there doing pink ass wig things, but to each his own. But you know, hey, it is what it is. She's trying to survive. It's survival apparatus. You know, when you feel like you got to make more money, you go where the winning team is, and that's where most of the wealthy are going. They love this man, even though they want to say shit out loud, and you know, for us to hear, you know, this fool ain't shit. Behind closed doors, they love him.
Yeah,
they gave me, you know, he's giving them what they want. So hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
A good song and dance party. He's doing it right now.
That's right.
You know, I mean, he's loving his moment right now. But this show's not about him. We'll pick up on the state next week. But well, whatever he said after we get the reviews back in later on. But anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in. I think for your hypothesis of you know, the way things are and the way things are going, and we all hope that there is a better light at the end of the tunnel.
Let's hope and pray.
I mean, you know, we are experiencing business owners out here that are not making healthy decisions based upon what they can do for individuals. You know, they're not. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, they don't really care. You know, and the sense of humanity that's lacking. Period. You know, I mean, at the end of the day. But you know what? I can't complain because people don't hear me complain. Say I complain too much. You know, my truth is complaining. Can you believe that? My truth is complaining.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, what can you do? You live in the reality, and being a realist, what do we do all the time?
You draw attention to things and hope and expectation that they improve. But to some people that don't do that, it's complaining. Okay. Well, anyway, so tonight, let me just say, welcome you guys again. Make sure you like, and share, please do that as well. Throughout the evening, we will put up patronage opportunities for you on our Cash App as well as our Venmo.
Yes.
If you're not sure how to go that route, we can work out a Zelle situation for you as well. But we need you to email us at ttbttshow@gmail.com. All right, it's ttbttshow@gmail.com. That's also where you can email your comments that you don't agree with us on. So we'd love to hear from you. Give that invite all the time.
But y'all gonna put the comments up.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to Well, you can also put a comment up there. You can go to the site wherever you're listening from. You can put the
at least we know people are listening, right?
Oh, yeah,
if they put a disparaging comment up there, hey, it is what it is.
This is true, you know. But anyway, so you have a way to reach us. We're not hiding behind the curtain, you know.
We're not the man behind the curtain.
Well, no, we're
behind the toothpaste.
Whatever it may be. But tonight we really want to take tonight and look at for us to go as individuals, go a little deeper into our understanding of who we are, because regardless of who's in the White House, who's potentially on the way there, who's potentially in Congress, it's still going to be about how you see yourself. Yeah. At the end of the day, because we are the world. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We are the world in this. We are humanity. You know, this is the different phases of this humanity that we are. Yeah. We do hope that people will take the responsibility to seeing things a lot different than what they do.
And we're like you. We're like you. We like what Gavin Newsom said. We ain't passed our SATs. And, you know, at least I can read. I'm not, you know, I ain't got nothing wrong with people who are dyslexic. You know, I don't.
Dyslexics can read.
He said he couldn't read.
Oh.
Well, he did say he had a problem reading, right. But that's a black thing to Fox News nowadays. You know, black folks can't. Yeah.
You're not the first black in nowhere. It's just automatically black people. Right. You say black anything in there.
Did you see?
I think they over dissected his statements.
But it was in a room full of mixed people. You know, and they made it sound like mostly us was in the audience, right. Which I thought was, you know, that what makes me laugh at the fact that. You know, the other day I was listening to Fantasia's husband. He, you know, that they in some situation that we can discuss it, but it's just not really that big of bones. But he said something that really struck me in his commentary. He said people listen to more blogs than they listen to journalism.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
And Fox News, to be honest with you, has become more of a blog than journalism. Because when Sean Hannity got up there and
He should say more of a
lied,
blob.
he got up there and lied and said he was talking about black people because he was out there in Atlanta. But in the audience, it was more whites than blacks. So in my mind, I'm like, well, is this supposed to be legit journalism right here? I mean, what's the point in lying?
That's why people go to the blogs, because journalists used to go for the truth. They used to try to find the raw facts. They don't do that anymore.
Right.
They recycle whatever somebody told them,
Right.
and they try to stay out of trouble with the FCC.
Well, our friend Tara, we're gonna have to get. She wants to come back on. I'm sure we have to schedule a different time for her because she's real busy right now. But she was a journalist right there in Atlanta for a long period of time. And the reason why she left journalism as the news side is because she was not going to be pushing the propaganda they put out there, and they had required things that they had to say on camera. And I said, "Wow, for real?" She said, "Yeah." So even the news reporters, unless you are independent like Don Lemon and the other ones that are out there, you have to say what the station tell you to say, or you won't have a job.
I got to give you this. I got to give y'all both this. Now, let me, that situation with him in the church and all this stuff.
Oh, Don Lemon?
Yeah, Don Lemon. Guess who's suing him now for emotional distress? Some woman from the church. Now, being, I thought, a Christian, with God on your side, why should you have any type of emotional distress? I just want to know.
Maybe you can figure that one out. I'm being sarcastic.
I just want to
maybe
know.
You can
I thought with God on your side, you shouldn't have any of that situation going on.
Well,
yep.
She let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, there you go. Let him take the wheel.
She didn't let Jesus take the wheel. That's what it was.
Emotional distress,
Yeah.
and you believing in Jesus Christ. He died up on the cross for your emotional distress, right? I'm still trying to understand that. But she's suing Don Lemon for emotional distress.
Okay.
That's interesting. Okay, then fine. I thought, me as a Christian, when you have faith in something, that your faith should be tougher than that. I never thought
their faith doesn't allow that.
Hey, I just was confused about that. Emotional distress?
That's my biggest thing, and I'm caught up in one.
That's not going to it, but
because I have a video. We have a video tonight that's going to clarify the way people's hypothesis of their life, and based on this gentleman really does a really good job at that, of how it should be explained coming from his perspective, not being a Christian, not raised one. So, but we'll get into that later.
But that's being of the world.
Oh,
when you have that psychological thing going on and you're a Christian, that is being of the world, which you are not of the secular world. So what do you know about emotional distress being a Christian?
First of all, that scripture is one of the ones that's most taken out of context ever. Okay, at the end of the day, because if you ain't of the world, then you know what? Go live on the street. Okay, go live out on the street. All right, don't go to the shopping centers.
That's just,
don't drive your car. Resign from your job. Okay. Just stop all of the things that are somewhat conveniently done by you. In the process of this. So please, let's not get in. Not you, but let's not get in there.
I always thought that was something off about that. But to each his own. But it's just sarcasm because we're all human beings. That puts in. Well, hey,
I'm being funny.
Well, hey, I know, but we're human beings. So even with whatever you worship, God, Buddhism, Islam, whatever you get dibble dabble, you still are living in the flesh, right? You're having to deal with real life issues.
Right.
But it just seems like every now and then when you go to them about anything, you're supposed to be leaning on his everlasting arm. You should
Jesus take the wheel.
Jesus take the wheel. So there should not be no lawsuit. There should be a divine situation happening in Don Lemon to show him that God is still in control. So you bringing up a lawsuit seems like it's more of a money grab at this point. And that, to be honest, when I saw that headline, I was like, for real, like you were inside the church. That right there, emotional distress, I don't quite understand. I mean, I could see if it was something else, but these were protesters.
Right.
And I'm still trying to figure where was the emotional distress and all of that. Nobody got killed. Everybody walked out of that church probably angry at the fact that their pastor got caught up, stealing babies and women and taking them into detentions and stuff like that. I think that's where they got really angry at the fact that their pastor got caught.
Mm.
It's sad, but let's keep it moving.
Yes,
let's save that. I hope they understand that's coming. Well, let me ask you a question, Charles. Did you hear about this new bill called the SAVE Act?
Sounds familiar. So much is coming out. I can't remember.
I know, right?
Go ahead.
I know, right? But get this, Jeff. Now the midterms are coming, so the Republicans are trying to pass this through. I think they're trying to pass this through the Senate, where Americans are supposed to not only bring their driver's license.
Oh yeah, but the birth certificate.
Right. Yeah.
And a passport.
Right.
Yeah.
Why
Everybody
did
doesn't have
people
a
make? Say that again, Charles.
Right.
Everybody don't have a passport.
No.
I don't.
Hey,
Right.
there you go. Now, why didn't many people go around talking about, well, so what's the problem? Everybody should have their ID, but nobody went into specifics of what was the ID that was needed besides your driver's license.
And here's the clincher: if you're a woman and you're married, your married name is not on your birth certificate, so there's a conflict, which means you're not eligible.
Right. Somebody put that out there on Instagram, like last week or something. I think you saw my response to it. And I said, well, what about the LGBTQ communities and part of the community that are married? So what are they going to do? How are they going to handle the situation if that's the case? I was just throwing it out there because the woman had put it out there. She was kind of disregarding anyone else. You had to be heterosexually married in order for it to apply to you. So I kind of, put my 2 cents in and let it go.
It's just my issue was the fact that they went around talking about, well, they made it sound like everybody should have either a driver's license or a picture ID. They even went on the ground, whoever that was representing, MAGA world was asking random Black people in New York, do you have an ID? And people kept saying, yes, I do have my ID. Here it is. But they did not go into further information of what else was needed besides your driver's license to prove that you are a citizen of this country. You even had Nicki Minaj talking about, well, it's foolishness that people are, what you're trying to say that, people of color don't have their driver's license or ID. What's the problem? But that right there was really the situation where I felt like y'all are out here lying to the average American who do not take into consideration of doing their homework. You're gonna have a bunch of people standing in line to vote that's just gonna have their picture ID and that's it, and people gonna be like, well, you have this, but we need also this.
So the big question would be is that why don't individuals know about what's going on? What's wrong? Why don't you know that these situations could befall you when you go to vote? Or are you planning to go to vote? That should be the question. Okay,
I know I'm still in the election this year.
Well, yeah, but they don't know that. They don't know that. From an honest place, they don't know who. Some of these people don't even know who's running. They don't know what is going on when it comes to the midterm elections. I'm just so outweighed. I can't even describe how I am right now with the ignorance, and I don't like calling people ignorant, willful ignorance that people are bringing forward in humanities, typically in the U.S. I don't get it. I don't know how. Maybe the universe is opening me up to be a little bit more flexible, I guess. And maybe I've been a little bit too rigid of the expectation of thinking that people knew stuff. Because I pay attention. You pay attention. Charles pays attention. And I've been paying attention all my life. And I have people even on my position and job, like they look at me like, well, how do you know so much? Because I pay attention. Because I read. I've always read.
Well, they're reading more about the Epstein files.
Well, that's a
good thing, right, Charles?
They're reading Epstein.
I mean, they're learning more about Epstein than they know about the SAVE Act.
That's one of the novels you just can't put down.
Yeah, exactly. It's too juicy, but I'm just saying though, and
Black folks be knowing more about Fantasia these days.
Anyway, but the scenario here, and honestly, guys, it's really sad that people don't know what's going on around them. I mean, as we stated, this man is on national television, taking up everybody's airtime tonight. Every channel, spewing his lies, throughout America, and half the stuff that he will say, the people don't even know it exists.
I know it doesn't exist.
Well,
I mean, any fool would not know that gas prices ain't going down.
well,
I mean,
he started with that today.
and
You know,
eggs
he
ain't
went in
going
the
down
fact,
since.
he went in the fact, I went to Iowa and went in there. It was $1.98 or $1.89 a
they
gallon.
put the wrong price tag up there.
Yeah, exactly.
They left the wrong.
Exactly. That's just what they did. And think about it is, okay, Iowa, Atlanta, Iowa, New York, Iowa, Michigan, Iowa, South Carolina. Let me stop.
I work
Let me
retail.
stop.
I know about leaving the wrong price tags up on purpose just to make people, to give them the hope that is needed. When you go in and you look at that, it's $1, or actually it's going up to $3. But
Right.
I'm just.
But anyway, we're not on his rant. Okay, he's having his own purposeful moments right now, and blocking everybody's television. So let's let him go, and we will spend time on deliberating on that next week, on the show. But anyway, so we're gonna dig in. So right now, this may not be quite in the line of what we're going to be talking about tonight, because again, tonight is about self-preservation, self-motivation. Finding if you're lacking a point of self-esteem in certain areas of your life, we want to really encourage you tonight. We have our motivational speaker. I love how this guy just articulates and breaks down different scenarios of life and gives you great hypothesis on how to change your thinking. And if you're going to ever be different for you, your number one, for yourself first, and then for your family, and then your coworkers, and all of those things preceding that. You have to change the way you think and to see yourself as an individual. Yeah. But this one little clip, this is not really in line with it, but I think it's going to be a couple of nuggets in it that kind of circle back. Mm-hmm. It's a clip that Jada Pinkett and her on the Red Table Talk. Well, she's not on anymore, but she had this Caucasian lady that identified herself as let me let her explain it. It's just really good how she put it. Right. Do you have it, Charles? Let me get it.
No.
I'll grab it. I got it.
Not believing the myth. In this country, what we call education is actually indoctrination. And it takes us from the ages of 5 to the age of 18 to thoroughly indoctrinate people so that they will believe in the myth of white superiority. And it is a myth. Right. Now, you can't do that while you're teaching that Columbus discovered America.
Right.
There were black people on this continent 4,000 years before Columbus was born.
Right.
We teach black history in the schools as if it started with slavery. I'm not a white woman. I'm a faded black person. My people move far from the equator. And that's the only reason my skin is lighter. That's all any white person is. Because our great, hey.
Because there's no such thing as race.
No, there's no such thing as race. There's one race. There's one race, the human race. And then y'all came from the same black women 300,000 to 500,000 years ago. The human race began with black women.
I love that.
But the lie is better than the truth. That's what it boils down to. I have to believe in the lie because I don't want to believe that I come from these people and that my blood is pure. Right. They don't even. Some historians do not want to bring up the Black Plague, and the Black Plague was not consist of some disease that came running through Europe, as people would want to say that it was.
Now, which one? Not the bubonic.
No, I'm talking about the Black Plague. I'm talking about the Moors coming through and bringing all types of influence, medical, music. They infiltrated the royal houses of Europe. But you can't tell a race is that, or the willful ignorance that, because there has to be some superiority where I cannot believe that somebody less than me was above me at one point. That's why you have people who would love to go back to Obama right now. But all this shit happened when Obama was president. All this racism came back when Obama was president. Racism has always been here. But let me also go further than that. Let's talk about Crispus Attucks.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the first? He wasn't even considered American because he was black. But wasn't he the first casualty for the freedom of this country? during the
Or
Boston
Benjamin
Massacre?
Banneker. Benjamin Banneker designed DC, architecture, did everything up there, put DC together, but we don't talk about that.
Nobody wants to talk about that type of Black history.
You know, because it's gotten to a point where it's referred to as faded history. Okay, and faded history is not it's not Nicki Minaj. It's not what's that?
It's not exploited.
Right. Well,
it's not people who were once exploited, because like she said, our history go back as slavery. Those people were exploited.
Right.
See, Nicki Minaj and that woman who's that grandma who spoke at the Black conference, the Black History conference that they had up there, those people are exploited, and they're being used as cons, or as what you would call this prestige. You know, I got to make sure that Trump don't look racist, so I'm gonna just parade these dumb Negroes out here to Black folk.
I thought they had a new word for that.
What is it?
Coonism.
Oh, that's been out.
No,
The raccoon.
No, coonism. That's the name.
Coonism.
Hey, I got a video I want to share with you.
Go on and share it.
All right, here we go.
Columbus Day, which I believe is a more appropriate holiday honoring our American heritage.
I move to approve the amendment to the personnel policy and holiday schedule.
Second.
A motion in multiple seconds. Further discussion?
I do have one comment on it.
Oh, sorry.
Juneteenth celebrates the actual end of slavery in the United States. And the abolition of slavery, I believe, is one of the crowning achievements of Western civilization and certainly worthy of celebration. On the flip side, North America, as we know it, in the United States entirely would not exist if it were not for the expeditions of Christopher Columbus and other European explorers, which are also worth celebrating. So I don't know if you would consider doing an every other year type of thing, but I think both are very relevant to our history and worth celebrating.
I don't want to change the holiday schedule up. I think that's a lot of complexity. My own view is that Juneteenth is something that nobody had heard of until 5 years ago and was pushed for political purposes. And so I'm not in favor of having that in. Removing Juneteenth from the list of.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I'm not surprised, Charles.
Well,
Yeah.
They're removing the plaques where Washington, when the country was now formed as a nation, and Washington was in Philadelphia, and the home of where George Washington and them lived when he became president. You know, he had slaves. That's write that out of the history. But he had slaves. They all lived in that house with him and his wife Martha, and they are now removing the plaques of where they housed the slaves when he was living in Philadelphia, just to promote the fact that this never happened.
Well, they put them back. The courts made them put them back, so they put them back this week.
Why would they take them down in the first place?
Because when you don't care.
I know, Charles.
The significance of what that means to this portion of humanity, you do your best to try to get rid of it. You have somebody that's supporting it, so therefore you can come out and take the plaque down, because he's not going to chastise you about it. He's not going to stand for the right side of the law. Let's say, put it that way. So therefore, like tonight, most of his speech should have been about black and white unity. That would be a president that was doing that, but he's getting touted everything that he allegedly did. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything, as far as I'm concerned. And the one thing I've had in recent days discussions about President Obama and his accomplishments and blah blah blah. Obama didn't do it well. What did you expect him to do? Thank you, Charles. What did you expect him to do? Okay, was he supposed to rewrite history to benefit the situation where you thought it should be rewritten? Is that what you expect?
Well, they're looking for Trump to do that now. And look, I hate to say it, but they're looking for him to do that now.
So when you had a man that was able to at least bend the ear of unity of people, you did not appreciate what you had.
Because people protect the pimp.
Well, yeah,
people protect people who do damage. I asked Charles this question before the show. Why do society protect people who do serious crimes? people who do nothing but take, and probably, and do PDF situations. I'm just saying, I'm asking why. And you just said it with Obama. Obama was willing to unite people, but you still got people dogging him to this day for even trying to do that. Now we got this fool doing everything to separate and divide and conquer people. Right. And it seems that you still got this, this campaign of, uplifting this, whatever you want to call this.
This is a good transitional point with this. All right. So let's just put President Obama and Michael Jackson on the same level.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
On the same level. All right. Both of these distinguished, excellent Black men had and did reframe the world.
They did.
Okay. And to this day, and I different people have been celebrating President Obama, on social media. He's taking on social media again, in his quietness, he's making more noise than somebody standing in front of a microphone yelling.
I hope they didn't have Tourette's.
But let's just be safe for the second. But in his quietness, he's making more noise, than having a microphone in front of him. That's a remarkable human being. That's the energy that's coming from a human being. And I was looking at, and now Mr. Michael Park, we got to go to commercial today, getting this other stuff. I was looking at the night of his election and how I have been through many elections. I'm sure Charles has been through a few of them. I've never seen anybody that stopped time at that moment. It was
made Jesse Jackson cry.
Well,
never
stopped. I've never seen anybody in an electoral point stop time. For people from coast to coast, they were glued to the television. And there was such a celebratory spirit across the United States during that particular moment, that time. Wrigley Field, you couldn't get into the field, and the largest, I'm gonna say it one more time, the largest inauguration in American history. There will never be anybody that will ever have an inauguration that large. As far as I know, the last inauguration I knew happened inside the Capitol Rotunda.
Oh Lord.
Okay, but we won't go there. All right.
Well, let me say this: when we look for a topic for the show, we didn't really come to any conclusion. So what I made it is I made the topic finding our way back, because just like you said, people say all we do is complain. We never talk about any solutions. We never give any positive points. So finding our way back I felt was a proper understanding of what we should be talking about, because everything is done.
Right.
Now we got to figure out how to reverse it or bring back what we consider to be progress. That is something that we've I think we've lost hope in, because a lot of people don't even talk about it. The fact that we're losing our voting rights, the fact that he lifted all the EPA restrictions now, asthma and all that. In the Black neighborhoods, is going to be really bad, because that's where all these factories are. You tell them they don't have to have any EPA regulations anymore. They're going to start poisoning Black people like they used to. Then you got to look at the fact you got rid of the funding for a lot of states. Now the hospitals are closing. There are people who got to go 2-3 hours just to get to a hospital if something happens. These are, how do we find our way back to what we consider social norms that basically takes care of everyone in society? That is like they say, DEI wasn't for, it was put in the premise of Black people, but we didn't benefit from it. White women benefited from it from more than anybody. Same with civil rights. So how do we find our way back to where we should be?
Get the plank out of your eye, number one. And hold on, let me just say this. I think the only way to get back is to get the plank out of our eyes and understand that we need to be aware of what is going on in our backyard. Not just be aware of the stupid stuff, but be aware of the totality of what makes this thing called the system works. Because a lot of us like to go to work and just make a check and come home. But how in the heck, I mean, if you look at your pay stubs and you're seeing how much they're taking out of your check, you need to start asking questions. So why? Where is half of this money going to if the bridges are falling down and the road got potholes in it, and you got, the fire department can't even get to where you need to go because they, you got to start wondering and start doing some investigation. That is when we will come back.
Well,
I'm thinking.
Well, you guys know how I feel about the word back. I don't think we can ever go back, because that's impossible in the terms of the scheme of life, at the end of the day. But I understand your point, Charles. Where do we bring our thought patterns into a place that we can see what has happened, but we take what has happened and propel ourselves moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what information needs to be out there that people will pay attention to? Why is it, and the question should be asked, I think, on everybody's head, and then we got to get into our main topic tonight. Why are we leaning toward the Mickey Minuj's, for inspiration? A pole hugging hoe. Why? Really?
No, it's not only them.
Well, no, that's just that because that's a prominent source that has been in media for whatever reason, the degradation of whatever it became. But even in that, well, no, that's too much. But I don't even want to open that up because that's another Pandora's box. Someone else shouldn't say it. But point is that we have got to understand, and I'm not talking about we just as in people of color or people of Black people. I'm talking about human beings. And if we're not willing to step back and take the responsibilities of the choices that have been made, that formulated these things, we cannot move forward and we get stuck. And so much of us are stuck. We're stuck in ideas. We're stuck. We've been programmed to be stuck. And then we roll off into the fact of where this programming comes from. We've said it for 6 years in different formats about how we're stuck in the idea of what religion does to us. But people still haven't woke up. They still haven't. And typically, y'all don't like me saying the Black church. Okay. The Black church is my association to Christianity. Okay. I have, before we left Atlanta, our pastor was Caucasian. Wonderful pastor. Implemented in a whole lot of different things at the end of the day. And there was no separation between the idea of worship and that experience, with that. However, the formulated lack thereof that we've experienced has come from what we've heard from those pulpits. Because we should be strong and mighty in our personhood. In our personhood, like you said, was a week before last, when you mentioned before about the I am. And then Javon came back and mentioned about the I am. We don't even want to talk about the I am because we want to keep, please God, come on down and do it. Come on down, Lord Jesus. We need you right over here. We don't want to identify that. I'm going to the Black church for the moment because the behaviors of what we have seen in our communities. Okay, I've said it, you said it, Charles said it. We have had these platforms. You've had these platforms for eons. We should be the number one leading ethnic group in banking. But why are we not in banking? We should be the number one in supporting one another's businesses, not just because it's on a certain side of the town. Okay, y'all have heard me say this, on a regular basis. I got people that come in my store all the time. Okay, this past week, you'll love this. This past week, a guy ended up with one of them other people that was in the store. He kept looking at me, and we kept looking at each other. He didn't want to be rude in the midst of doing a transaction with the other person. But guess what? He walked over. He said, "Brother, I wish I could have come to you."
And why did he?
Well, you couldn't do that in the midst of that. It would cause a whole bunch of problems. But he did say, "Give me a car because I'm coming back to do my shopping. Best believe I'm coming looking for you." So, you see what I'm saying? So you change the narrative, where you can, in the process of that. But we don't want to accept those areas of responsibility. But we got time to talk about who you're sleeping with. We got time to worry about what your hair look like. We got the latest makeup, looking like drag queens. We got all that time and wasting to be able to do that. But rather than empowering young, beautiful Black girls to be strong in who they are, giving them an opportunity to move forward from the seasoned people. You know what I'm saying? From the seasoned people to speak into their lives.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going fast because I want to speak to you. You talking something that I'm watching and I'm seeing as being, that you're talking about speaking life into people. Charles, did you see this? And I'm going to go back to Fantasia because this is something to talk about. Black people speaking life, right? Did you see? I think it was like around Valentine's Day. Her husband giving her the ring, right?
Keep going. There's so much in the Black perspective because we're pivoting to
I know
self. But go ahead.
But did y'all see that moment, right? And it was a beautiful moment, a beautiful moment of Black love, Black inspiration. Then comes the curveball, the deadbeat father, who should have been there to be speaking life into that union, speaking life into that daughter who has been doing a great job. The marriage been there. They've been married for 11 years. I mean, we're not talking about a one-night stand. We're talking about a marriage that came about after 3 weeks of courting, turned into an 11 years of just matrimony, of marriage. Then all of a sudden, this deadbeat come out of nowhere talking about the fact that, well, he has taken away from her family and he's now over her money and where's the money? And I have heard Black people, well, we need more Black love in our community. We need Black entrepreneurship. We need Black business. We need this and we need that. And we're tearing down an 11-year marriage with business. The wife is singing, but the husband is making sure that the books are okay. I'm trying to figure this thing out because I'm sorry,
it just goes. And Charles, you make your point. It just, to me, it just goes back to what I was saying.
Okay, go back to what you saying.
Okay, and this is the point of going back to that. When you have a framed area to be able to teach you to move forward, and then when you have that and you're not being taught to move forward, what can you expect?
Thank you.
So I'm saying, what can you expect? What can you expect to change? And
the church is supposed to do that.
Exactly. And the reason why I go to the assembling of the church, because there is a platform, whether you got 10 people or whether you got 10,000 people on a given opportunity. Now, I'm not saying everybody out there or every pastor is falling short of that, because I understand Jamal Bryant is trying to do that within the ranks of Atlanta. So I applaud him for reframing the idea of what has been happening. But the problem is, not the problem, but the concern is that are the people paying attention? Because we've been so programmed not to. See, we're coming for that good time. Oh, I can feel Jesus there. The choir was good. All this other type of stuff. But then here's the opportunity where this intelligent man is bringing you scenarios, because he's talking about Black businesses. He's talking about supporting Black
But we
businesses.
don't believe in Black anything that is of any type of success, if that makes sense. Charles, what do you think?
But we baited ourselves so wrong.
Hey, well, when I researched for today's show, I found a glimmer of hope. Let me share it with you.
Go ahead.
A man in Oregon stole a car, realized there was a baby inside, turned around to return the child safely, cussed the parents out for leaving the baby alone, then hopped back in the car and drove off again. Now that's humanity.
That is.
Sure the baby was okay. He's a low-life piece of crap and stole a car. He was concerned about the child.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's a funny spin, but that's a good point. At the end of the day, sometimes in the little slight movement that we can make changes the whole scenario. Just a slight movement, slight change in thought. It may not be the greatest moment in that moment, but that slight change changed the whole scenario. And I don't think that people have been built enough into themselves to see how valuable they are. Because we've been torn down so much, society, family, jobs, and we get to a place in our lives that we believe that we're not worthy of anything.
And that's what it all boils down to, is that we all feel that because
in some sort of way.
Because the system puts us in that perspective of thinking. Because
we have to be responsible for. I'm not cutting you off. Well, you have to be responsible for that thought pattern when it comes. Because what happens is that we continuously point the finger and blame. So if this is something that
Trump is doing that.
Well, we ain't talking
about playing devil's advocate. Trump does that all the time.
Right.
What's wrong with pointing the finger?
No. But
I'm just saying. What's wrong with pointing the finger?
No. Because that's not elevating you as an individual.
It has elevated the ones that are now that has money. I mean, Kanye West do it all the time. I'm just listen. I'm being devil advocate because you see it. Listen, I hear what you're saying, and it makes that is the greatest thing, a characteristic that a human being should have, to take on responsibility and accountability for oneself and one's situation and not point the blame at somebody else. But do you not see people who are successful and seem to have platforms all over the world pointing fingers at the reason why you got people who can't get ahead? You either too lazy or something ain't right with you. You look, you something ain't right with your voice. Y'all don't want to do nothing. It's just all. I'm seeing that more than people saying what is necessary for the human race to keep moving, to keep going.
Okay, and I understand your point there, but here's the thing: 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 have been together now. Charles, you've been a steady part of the Truth Behind the Truth now for at least 2 years, as independent from the rest of the cast members that were here at one time. 1, 2, and 3 for 6 years, and we're going to go all the way back to 6 years when 1 and 2 came to the forefront. Okay. What the desire and the hope and the inspiration of our past experiences, okay, and wanted to share the light to help a level of not just people of color, but all humanity, okay, to see themselves better, okay. How many we got watching tonight? I don't even want to put the number up there.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying? And I know personally, and I know you know personally, I know Charles knows personally, and I know this from Charles. I've known Charles almost 16 years now, 16, 17 years now.
That's something like that.
It's a long time. You old, man. But I've watched his character, okay? And from knowing his character and what we've committed to each other during the very first time that we met. This is our Black History moment right here, Charles. We sat and we talked for, 10 hours. We were sitting on set. But we started speaking destiny to each other. We saw each other's vision. We saw each other wanting to become something in an industry that was not speaking very highly of that occurring. We started he started a program. He said, JB, I need you for this. Boom. Where was JB? Right there with him. I said, Charles, I need you to help me do this. Boom. Right there with me. We stood and literally cried together on one of our biggest progress next to Risky Southern, stood and cried together, watching how uniting pulls us together, which we thought that would have been, which is now the Truth Behind the Truth, but a male talk show. We walked all over Atlanta. We rode. We spent hours at Chinese foods, laying out and looking at play. We walked to places and trying to get locations to shoot in, came up with scenarios and all of these things, to the day that we were awarded that we were at the top floor of the Marriott Marquis suite, presidential suite. Okay. We standing there like, Charles look at me, Charles look at Charles and say, wow. You would think that you have walked in on a full-scale production. And it was a full-scale production, and I look back at that. Did it play out the way that it necessarily we wanted it to at that particular time? But what we learned was about each other. What we learned is about the investment, in one another. Sometimes it takes a long time for things to come into place in the way that you want to see it done. I have never given up on him. He got bad at me, but he gave up on me. Everybody else threw their hands up to the wind and walked on the way and did want to start. And that's beautiful. They served their time. At the end of the day, I can't say I wasn't mad at him for leaving, but he's been right here. He's been right here with us.
There's a saying that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
There you go. There you go. So back to,
that's some time.
Yeah, it is. So back to what you were saying. So I feel good about what we do every week. You know what I'm saying? And I have to. I take the opportunity to share that because it impacts me, it impacts you, it impacts Charles, and those that watch us in passing, swiping by, if they don't feel like they have the time to show up on Tuesday night or whatever. Okay, guess what? You're going to remember one day You know, you're going to remember one day. And here's your point, Charles, to the past. Oh, I remember I heard something on Truth Behind It last year. That was a past situation, but that's propelling them to an opportunity to move forward. You know, so anyway, that was my hypothesis about, you know, how we should look at things and try to do what we need to do as best case scenario. I know you do it every day because you and I tell him all the time, audience and Charles, he is a light to this planet. Problem is, I'm trying to get him to realize that he's a light to this planet. He's a true light. People love Dylan Washington Wellington. They love him. He don't have to open his mouth; they start loving him. You know, he walk in a room, people start loving on him. You know, because of that nature, because of who he is, because of what the greatness that he has in him. At the end of the day, but anyway, let me go on because I want to see it talking about. So the first video, and we're going to share a quick videos real quick of our motivational speaking guy. I think this guy is just so amazing in his short synopsises of things. But I encourage you guys, pay attention to what he's saying. Listen to the nuances that he brings. And this is all about self-preservation. Consider it for me. Preservation. Mm-hmm. But in that preservation, you are developing you so that you can be that. You shouldn't have to rely upon, we come against the Black church. You shouldn't rely upon the Black church to find out who you are in the beginning. Your relationship is between your relationship and your creator, not based upon the assembling of people in one place that are all over the place. All right. But anyway, here's the first one.
When things get hard, the thing that people usually do that keeps us getting stuck is we think that it's getting hard and it's not to benefit us. All it is life's putting more weight on the bar. There's more weight on the bar. It's heavier. It's more challenging. But what comes from that? Gains, growth, evolution, transformation. So this is why, if we have the proper mindset, you must remind yourself in those times that are hard, this too is for me. But you won't figure out how it was for you until after you move through it.
You take it.
No, you take it. There's not much I can even say about that, to add to that, because that is the scope of how life ends up being. And we like to categorize when we should be going through something or how we should feel in the middle of it, but life never asks our permission. It never asks our permission. It never asks us it's the right time, which he was basically articulating. Never asks us it's the right time, but it somehow knows it's the right time to put the extra weight on the bar, because it's looking at what your next step is going to be. Where is that next level of strength that you're going to have to push a little harder? But that's self-accountability. That's looking at self. And sometimes life will provide a spot for you when you're bench pressing. Sometimes it won't.
This is where you show the content of your character. People aren't consistent. They're all over the place. And with that being said, that's one of the reasons why I ride the tit for tat train, because trying to go high when they go low is how we ended up in this situation, especially with Democrats, independents. We keep saying, let's be better than them. And they're going, I don't give a damn what you do. This is what we're going to do. And look at where we're at now. They're buying planes. They're taking money away from people's Medicare. The VA is not getting money. They have more money in DHS than they have for the entire Marine budget for the fiscal year. That's crazy. And they're looking for $20 billion more. Come on, man. There has to be a time when you say to yourself, I won't just roll over for anything. I'm going to stand up. And I'm not going to play nice, because that's not going to get me anywhere. Doesn't mean you have to be mean or nasty, but sometimes you have to make a stand and do what's necessary. Realigning the gerrymandering the election counties is one of those things. You can't just sit back and say, well, we're not going to do that because Trump doing it. He's the one going to look crazy in history. No, he's the one who's going to have the advantage. He's the one who's going to mess this up even more. Until we stand up and say, we need to fight fire with fire. Sometimes you have to stand up and be accounted. And a lot of us will fall into the shadows because we don't want to be standing out or noticed by people. I don't want everybody looking at me or watching what I do. But there has to be some fortitude within you, like you say, owning banks, education,
Right.
homelessness, food deserts, all that stuff has to be accounted for, and it can't be done if you don't stand up or participate.
Uh-oh. He froze a little bit.
Froze a little bit.
I was saying none of this can happen unless you be accountable. You have to stand up and participate. You can't just count on everybody else. And I with all due respect, I respect everybody's religion and their faith and their principles. But man, I can't see you sitting around waiting for somebody to come down from the heavens to help fix what you got or to make things better. And you can sit on your knees till they bleed, and it still won't change a thing. You have to participate. Get off your behind, get involved, even if it's only just to listen to someone speak what's going on so you can evaluate for yourself.
Absolutely.
But don't just sit back and go, man, my vote don't count. Man, they just gonna do. And look at what they're doing. Soon you may not be able to vote at all.
True.
And that's who's putting all the weight on us. You know, the weight that this guy was saying in the commentary, he was saying, you know, this life's weights. You know, it's just the fact that, you know, there are people who won't get involved and they don't think that them being involved would change anything. But see, my thing is that at the end of the day, self-preservation is key.
Right.
It's the key to trying to survive in a ruthless society. I didn't say the world because the world is doing what the world has always been doing. It's a society of people who make life harder for other people.
Right.
And
that's because it's hard for them.
And and it's not harder for some of them. It's not really harder for some people.
I don't mean economically. I meant in terms of mentally. You know, you have to think where they are.
Oh yeah.
So
it's like at the end of the day, why should my being me, being gay, being who I am as a black gay person should offend anybody? Sure. If I'm doing the right things to make things, I'm part of the economy that needs me. That needs me to get out there and do the work. I have to get up every morning and go to work to fulfill somebody else's dream, which I should be fulfilling my dream, but I'm still fulfilling somebody else's dream. And me being who I am offends somebody else when I'm trying to do the best that I can to survive in this crazy thing called society. So it's just, and I think religion plays a part in it as well as politics because they go almost hand in hand. One or the other wants to control one's life. Basically, that's any religion and political whatever stance is trying to control one situation. Yeah. But it's just the fact that at the end of the day, it is hard. Yeah, it's hard to just be. Right. And Charles, you can understand this. It's just hard to be sometimes. Right. You just want to get away from whatever that is keeping you down. And sometimes it is society. We stay home more than we go out. Y'all know a lot of clubs and a lot of the bars, they're losing money. A lot of people don't see the need to go out and just hang out anymore. Right. Yeah. Because it's just the humanity, the community, the wanting to get to know somebody is not there anymore.
Yeah, that's a vital point because think about this. Relationships, which are the cornerstone of our civilization, is at a detriment because take couples. We don't court anymore. We go online, see somebody who's got a fat butt or got a pretty face or got muscles and say, that's who I want. There's no integrity within that at all. You don't know what type of religion they have. You don't understand what type of diet they eat. You don't understand what type of family they have. Because one thing I've told people, just like moving into a house, your neighbors are going to be your neighbors. And you can't do anything about them once you move in that house. And they got a show out now called The Neighbors, where they talk about these horrific people shooting their neighbors and all this other kind of stuff because they don't like them. And then the same with our family. Our families are family. We can't pick them. Blood is blood. So like I tell my relatives that I don't get along with, I had to come to that term. I was like, hey, you're my family, so I still love you. but I know what I can tolerate, and I know where I have to separate myself to keep this love thriving. So when you get to that point where I go, oh, you get on my damn nerves, I got the backup. Hey, cuz I love you. Let's just break this off now, and I'll talk to you again later at another time. That way we don't have this confrontation, this conflict, because we don't. My purpose of that is we don't invest into what we're doing. You know,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we're too busy wanting without accepting or understanding. I want this, I want that.
Well, you know, the idea is that we want to keep making a withdrawal something never made a positive end. And that is, wow, probably the biggest solution that we have out there. You know, and that works hand in hand in every area of your life, you know, whether it's economically, whether it's relationship. If you're not depositing anything into the relationship, you can't make a withdrawal on anything there. You know, that's the law of the universe. You deposit something in, you get something out. You know, and then the more you deposit, the more you'll end up getting out at the end of the day, you know. But we want to come in making withdrawals, you know. This is the same fact that I can't go because it's going to take us off point. There's another scenario. So, Charles, you did touch on a little moment there about how the perspective of how people see this great awakening of moving from one place to another, Jesus come back to the sky, however you want to look at it. It was great you said that, because I don't think you knew what the next, I moved videos around, but this was one of the ones that we were going to talk about, but I'll play for you. Let's hear what this gentleman said. It's pretty good.
Is Jesus coming back to save us? Now, I'm not Christian and I didn't grow up with religion. In fact, I've been pretty adverse to it most of my life. My father's Muslim and my mother was raised Catholic, but none of that ever resonated with me. So what I'm about to share with you isn't some religious dogma. It's simply what I've been learning on my own path of transcendence. Now, most people think that the second coming means Jesus returning from the sky, descending through the clouds and sweeping in to save humanity. But what if the Bible was pointing to something far more powerful? A return of Christ consciousness within all of us. Now look what's happening on the planet right now. Systems are cracking, truth is surfacing, and people are finally waking up. Now everything built on fear, distortion, or control is finally being exposed. And this isn't chaos, it's clarity. It's humanity remembering who we are after generations of forgetting. Now, Jesus didn't just teach morality. He demonstrated what becomes possible when a human being is fully aligned with God, with Source, with the highest frequency of truth. The clear emotional body, a disciplined mind, and a grounded identity rooted in love, not fear. And then he said something most people skip right over. The things I do, you shall do also, and greater. And he wasn't elevating himself above anyone. He was calling us upward, inviting us to rise into our divine potential. But here's the paradox. The systems that run the modern world thrive on fear. Because a fearful human is easy to distract, divide, medicate, and control. Debt is profitable. Addiction is profitable. Illness is profitable. And a dysregulated nervous system is the most exploitable condition on the planet. So when people start to heal, when they overcome their trauma, when they stop needing substances, drama, or external validation, they become sovereign. And sovereign humans are very hard to control. And that's why awakening feels like resistance. Because it is. Now, the true followers of Christ are not just believers, they're the ones choosing to embody what he taught. Love over fear, truth over illusion, responsibility over blame, and most importantly, unity over division. This is what raises your consciousness. This is what anchors your sovereignty. And this is what makes you untouchable by lower energy. So the second coming isn't one man returning to save us all. It's humanity remembering how to save itself by rising into the frequency of Christ. Heaven isn't a place we go. It's a state we become. And that is the invitation of this moment. It's time to rise.
I don't even know, to be honest with you, I believe that he had came multiple times.
Okay.
I believe he has been here multiple times, and what we do, we just keep nailing him to the cross because that's not what that's not what we want to hear. Mm-hmm. And you know, the one thing that kind of really gives me this, like, why do we believe that he's going to come from the sky? Even before he was even born, they believed that he was going to come from the sky. He was born within a stable, but that was what they believed, and we're still believing that hype. But the saddest thing about it is, though, the hype should be what he just said. We should be the teachings of Jesus is all about uniting and loving one's neighbor. We can't even do that. Because right now, I'm not even calling it what I'm going to call it what it is, because it's not Christianity.
Right.
It's white Christian nationalism.
Okay.
That's basically what has hijacked this thing called Christianity, where those people want to believe that deportation and abiding whatever man-made law that they believe fits their agenda is based on believing in Jesus Christ and the 10 Commandments. And I hate to say this, but that's what has hijacked the Black church too.
Yeah, well, it was formulated around that idea.
Because I keep telling people all the time, and you brought this up in the last show, Charles, about somebody had said that, over them being Black, they're Christian first. But if that was the case, why did they bomb 16th Street Baptist Church in 1963? If you believe that, why would you go into a Black church in South Carolina and kill Black people after a Bible study?
They didn't believe that. That's why they burned crosses on people. They didn't believe that.
That right there.
Superiority meant mind.
But that is the situation that we are having to live with. And it makes, that what really grapples me right there. Said that there are people out here who believe that, oh my God, how can I say this? God is separate but equal.
Yeah.
And that's just the way, that's how it's always been.
When truth comes, they ignore it. It's bottom line. This is an element of truth. This is on the same social media sites that I find it on. And the amazing amounts, how many people swipe by that opportunity that are of that mindset. Okay, how many? At the end of the day. And I think that the one thing that I can say in the sense of how the true message of Christianity has existed as long as it has is because the true followers of that understanding are continuously bringing it forward. Okay. I'm not talking about religious practice. I'm not going to talk Baptist, Methodist, all these other type of, scenarios that are on, but just the persons that are the true essence of that, like what he said. It's about love, Love should be your first thing. So if
love is vague.
No,
yes, it is. There's so many types of love out there. Because love can be about release, and love can be about control.
Well, but that's because people are looking for something to define their idea of love. But this love is only one thing, and it just is. It just is. We put those labels in. Love is just is, period, at the end of the day. And the only thing that supplements that is unconditional, So, but we put the degrees on that. Well, I can't love you because. But love was already love before the because came in, and we try to nail that, so to speak, to our understandings. This is why people have the habits of going and say, well, I'm telling you this in love. No, you're not. You tell me because you wanted to. Just be honest. Say you just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Don't make it like that. You think this is going to lessen
and
the love.
You don't have to have Tourette's to say it.
You don't have to preface it. With that, because that's how you felt in the first place. It would be more appreciated if you would just go ahead and say it rather than trying to put the stigma of love over it.
Yeah.
But guess what? Church people do it all the time. But baby, I'm just telling you this in love. You need to. No, okay. Well, how about love? Did love tell you to keep your mouth shut?
No.
Love should have brought your ass home last night.
Well, yeah, I know. That's right. Braxton said. All right, we're going on. Here we go.
If you really knew who you were and what you were, you would stop doubting yourself and you would only start knowing. If you really knew who you were, if you really knew that your life only reflected whatever you were and what you could be was infinite, because the mind cannot imagine something that it cannot also create. If you have the ability to imagine a version of you, you would also have to have that same potential to create that new version of you to become that. But the issue is we don't realize, and we don't get taught in school or anywhere else, that in order for me to become this, I have to let go of that. So this is that constant shedding process, like a snake sheds its skin. And when you shed your skin, when you shed the old, you're going to go through a phase, a liminal space where you won't know what's going on, who you are. People think you're crazy, but then eventually you're going to start to get the hang of it. And you'll start to see, oh, wait, all I have to do is just create a new version of myself for this facet, for this iteration of life. And this is the constant process of being born, dying, rebirth.
Nobody taught me that, nor in school, nor at home. You know, to be honest with you, and you know, when you get up in age and you're trying to survive, and you have all this trauma going on once, wherever you have had to deal with, you know, sometimes it's hard to give up on stuff, on that type of stuff, because honestly, when you think, well, you know, I should be in this place in my life, I should be better than this, I should be, and you think, well, why am I not where I need to be? Well, so-and-so did tell me that, you know, dad he was no good. And probably because you are this way, because of the situation that happened some prior before you were born, or all this other stuff. And you believe that.
Yeah.
You hang on to stuff like that, because at the end of the day, there might be something wrong. There might be something wrong, because those said this and put this over, they projected this over your life as a child.
Yeah.
And it's hard to just let that go when you don't get that promotion, or when somebody tells you you're weak at this, or you know you can't talk, you got a funny way of walking. You start to believe, well, you know what? Honestly, well, so and so did say that I was this way because so and so was this way. But to hear him say that, it is a hard thing to do, to shed skin. It's hard because it's like doing a drug. Your body has gotten so immune to doing the drug that once you get over it, your body starts to react, because you've just been used to pain. And to be honest with you, and this is just, y'all don't have to agree with this. This is just me being
that way.
It's just me being me at this point. Pain is easy. You don't even have to call me out my name anymore. I say it to myself before you could even say it either way. When I do say something crazy, or I do something that's just not right, that was dumb. Why would you have did that? Stupid. It's just that type of stuff does register from time to time. And I have not ever gotten over just doing that, because it's easy for me to say it to myself than it is for somebody else to say it to me. If I say it first, then when you say it doesn't hurt me as much as get up. You know, it doesn't hurt because I've already said it in my mind. So yes, it does. What he says is true. It's just sometimes it's just hard to get over. Absolutely. It is.
Charles?
Hey, I totally agree. I think that, you know, in the scheme of things, and this is something I've come to, I guess, ponder over the last year, is that I'm accountable for myself. I have to be accountable. Mm-hmm. And that's where I build my foundation for how I deal with other people. Because that old saying, you treat people the way you want to be treated, or you show them how to treat you, is very true. Because that means you're standing up in your own truth, and you're standing on who you are, your principles. And you have to remember that just because, I tell this to my lady friend all the time. She goes, I got to tell them. And I'm like, everything doesn't have to be told. We don't have to tell everybody everything. You don't have to check everybody. You don't have to correct everybody. You don't have to bring to their attention. They know. They don't always need somebody there to be their policeman. Let them work through their own issues. And I agree with what Donald said earlier when he said, you know, we all have our own ways. We do. Everything doesn't affect everybody the same way. We all have our different view perspectives. We all have our different wants and needs. But in the scheme of things, we got to remember we're not the only ones here. There are other people in the same bubble that we're in.
Gotcha.
And to add on to that, Charles, like you just said, you're not the only one. But when you're going through a depression, sometimes you want to be the only person on that island. Phone calls, you don't want to pick up the phone. You don't want to talk to this person that lives next to you, or you just don't want to deal with people as a whole. Yeah, and that's the hardest thing to grapple with when you're going through depression. You're not thinking about the totality of who you are and who is there for you. You're just on an island by yourself dealing with so much.
But that's part of
it's
respect. That's part of respect, knowing that other people have things happening. It's not all about you and your world. I deal with PTS and depression, so I have my moments. I'm to myself. You know, people have been telling me I've been venturing out a little bit more lately, and they go, "Man, where you been?" I just wasn't in that frame to be around a bunch of folks.
There you go. And people think that's selfish, but I look at it like I'm protecting you from what is going on with me. I don't understand why people don't understand that. I don't understand why people want you to just to lash out. I think it's entertaining for somebody to hear one's self lashing at you and telling you their business. I think it's just entertainment for some. But it's a defense mechanism for me. It's a defense mechanism. I don't want you to know what's going on with me. If I'm in a funk, let me grapple with that in the dark corners where I stay, and I just leave me alone. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think that the selfish part comes in, because you want people, you know, I know my mom's watching this. She'll call me and she said, I haven't heard from you in such a long time. And I'm afraid to say, well, you know what? I just didn't want to talk to you or anybody else because I'm going through something mentally, and it's affecting me physically. It has affected me physically because at times I can tell when my body is reacting, but it's just that's how I grapple with things. I just don't like to share my darkness with people who might have light over them. Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? Unless you get paid for it, but who wants that?
Well, but the light should always be our purpose.
Oh, well.
You know, I mean, the light should always be our purpose, you know, and trying to navigate ourselves through whatever we're going through to get to that light. Mm-hmm. But the realization of that light is that you are already the light. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's where kind of early on we've been taught so much that everything happens outside of you, and now we're on a quest to realize that everything that needs to be is already inside of me. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way the corrective idea is to changing the energy. But that energy that we're changing is changing our mental energy about how we've dealt with things.
Well, it's hard for a man to do that.
Well, yeah.
And you ain't got, wait a minute, and let me add this, you ain't got to be gay to have that type of, or be straight to have that mindset. For a man in this totality to live in this world, nobody wants to see us go through things or to cry or to shed. Right. Nobody wants to hear us like that.
Well, you know, and true, but I think that, you know, there is an involvement of men that are really seeking, you know, true emotional transparency. You know, they are bringing these walls down that have society, and again, society and family is where we get things from, because they're going from, well, a man doesn't do, well, tell me what the hell does a man do? You know, and that should be that should be the next, you know, point. Of course, I mean, there are different podcasts out there now that are really helping men to embrace what they would say their sensitive side. Oh my God, I hate that. You know, but there are, you know, because we are the life givers, no matter whatever that area is. We still are the life givers. If it boiled down to a man and woman, or even the life-giving seed that we put out of our mouths, we're still the life givers. You know, and if you want to take it back to the male perspective, it's just like we take that, anything that Adam declared, God said it was good. Okay, so whether it's perceived by somebody else as being good, and of course the intention, now you could put stuff out there in the wrong intention, that's a whole other conversation, but it automatically comes with a validation if it's coming out of a place of purity.
Until he tripped up and
moving
People don't realize, I used to have a teammate used to tell me, you say, you got more excuses than a pregnant nun. Every time you make an excuse, all you do is build a wall. That wall is keeping you from your destination. That wall is keeping you from your goal. That wall is keeping you from your desired reality. We'll sit here and blame every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and we'll blame everybody else, but never do we take those fingers and turn them back to ourselves. When you have radical accountability, meaning I take ownership, I don't blame anybody, and I don't make excuses. Now there's nothing that can stop you on the outside. Now you'll see you're the one who's driving you forward. I'm not going to sit here and blame him. While yes, my situation may be X, Y, and Z, I still have the power and I have the accountability to change the story and change my actions and change the way I experience it. So this is where Until you are accountable, you won't be able to change your life.
You want to take that?
Hey, be careful, because you know the platforms will shut us down. You know, they start kicking us out after a certain amount of time.
Oh yeah.
We'll be
No, go
talking.
ahead.
We'll be all
Did you want to talk to the tab and take the point what he was just saying? Your comment.
I'm in total agreement. Like I said,
I'm in total
I've
agreement.
learned. Yeah, I've learned that we have to be positive and we have to learn to be open. This is something I'm working with on myself. Being more open. Stop being so judgmental. Open myself up to try to relate versus trying to dissect, understand, and then give an opinion. Try to just open up, hear what a person's saying, and take it in, and go from there. Versus, well, let me just tell you the one thing about what you're saying, and where everything doesn't have to be said. Some things just need to be absorbed and thought about.
And the walls are a defense mechanism, and people can't handle a lot of stuff that comes their way. So the excuses are a defense mechanism. That's all basically what it is. I mean, I'm just being truthful with it and being honest. Excuses are there to be defense mechanisms to people do what they have to do to survive. And is it wrong? Is it right? No, it's not right. But it's all based on trying to defend what is not needed to, but that's just what it is. It's that's human nature.
Well, it is, but you have to get to a point realizing that the defense mechanisms are not propelling you forward, and that's basically kind of what he was saying. They're good for a time, but that wall is your victories are on the other side of that wall. And we utilize defense mechanisms so that we don't experience the pain and the hurt of what we're going through. It's like I could put this wall up and I don't have to deal with the hurt, or I don't have to deal with the disappointment. I don't have to deal with, but in dealing with all those things, it is propelling us to get ready for the next opportunity to grow. All right.
I'm going to make manifestation so easy. I'm going to just make it so simple. Okay. First of all, number one, understand that you are manifesting everything in your life. Not only the good things, the bad things too. Two, understand what manifestation is. It is the embodiment of an abstract thought, meaning you are being what you are thinking. If you can be it long enough, you will see it in your physical reality. So it's quite simple. If I want to see it, I have to first be it. Simple. Is this not what we refer to as faith? You had to have faith. Every man has to have faith regardless of their religious standing. You had to have faith in order to create the life that you desire, because I have to believe that this can happen before I actually see it. But because we're sensory creatures, we think we have to see it and then we'll be it. No, no, no. You were gifted with a thing called the imagination. Here's the beauty of it. Your nervous system and your body did not know the difference between what was imagined and what was real. So you could walk around and be her or be him from the year of 2030 in the year of 2025. And I guarantee you will eventually see it come to physical fruition.
I like people that that take the opportunity to share from a deep place of what we should be striving for, every day. It is a difficult thing. Life navigates, because you hope that every time you speak something that somebody would grab what you're saying and apply it, and not find reasons why not to apply it. It seems like we always have on a day-to-day basis the opposing force, and you could come with the greatest intentions, and it seems like the opposing force is right there, I wish there was a way to explain all of that, but all I can do, and I know for me and then the things that I have the privilege of sharing with other people, is I always say, hang in there, because the change will come, but the change has to start with us first. And everything we've talked about tonight on the show has involved an evolvement process. The Black church, as we say it, or the assembling of Black people together, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, we haven't seen the victories that could completely be or bring closer to it because somebody's afraid. Somebody's afraid that somebody in that church is going to do a little bit more than they do, or you feel like you're exalting yourself above the pastor because you took a step to rally people together to see themselves better, or you started selling insurance to the church to make sure that everybody has health insurance or life insurance or burial insurance or whatever that scenario necessarily may be. Somebody has got to take the lead, and more of us need to take the lead in that situation. We talk about everything else. We make room for everything else. We have concerts built on everything else. But the one thing that we're not, as a whole, taking those platforms is to propel you, to propel Charles, to propel me to another light of ourselves. You know, the woman, nasty woman that she was, or whatever she's coming right now, she has dominated the news media. Dominated. But what did she bring to a culture of people that is still starving to figure out who they are? But you felt it, not you, but she felt it okay to present a platform of degrading women, calling women bitches and big asses and fuck and everything else in between, you know. And where did that go with the young Black girls that we have to influence every day? Where did that go with them? Where was their life important enough not to put that in? Now, if you're grown and that's a scenario, have at it. Like we were watching, by the way, was it Uncle Joe's road trip? College road trip the other night. Remember?
I watched it, but I didn't watch all of it.
It was different for Tyler Perry, I can tell you. But honestly, it was actually, I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, I'm surprised that I would say that. But I think when he wrote that, he wrote it for a lesson for a generation that has just kind of missed a lot of things along the way, you know. And it was obscure, you know, in a lot of areas. But honestly, that's the nature of the people that's out there now. You know, that's what they understand. You know, that's what they relate to. But if you can bring what they relate to into a sense of understanding for them, then they take a choice to make a better choice for their life, like the young guy did. He made a better choice for his life. Having to go to the whole house, and ended up falling in love with a prostitute, and all the things that societal situations consider bad, degrading, and all of that type of thing. He found a way in himself to make a better situation, you know. And sometimes information and knowledge doesn't come easily, to a lot of people, but it's always there to learn. And sometimes people are put in our pathway to help teach it, but we have to be willing to accept it when it comes. All right. So that's the moment for Truth Behind Truth tonight. Okay. Mm-hmm. I really hope that sincerely that, if you didn't watch the show in its entirety tonight and you please pass back by and listen to these points. Listen to that we have poured out of our hearts, for you tonight, and wanting to encourage you in a time where, as we start out the show, that man got before America on TV and just lied, I'm sure. We'll get to recap later on, but he lied. That's all he does is lie, But we got to still be responsible for ourselves. And if the country doesn't lean in the direction where we think it should, you need to begin having an exit strategy in place and start working on your exit strategy to go somewhere else. Just because the ship is going down don't mean you got to stay on it. If the ship is sinking, you can get your ass off of it before going underwater. That's for sure. At the end of the day. But anyway, I've enjoyed it. Thank you for your transparency, Charles. Thank you for your transparency, and my portion of it. Oh, we do have to end with our quick Black History moment. And we thought about this at the beginning of the show, that we were always paying homage to all of the legends of the Black history movement, from articulately coming from slavery, moving all the way through. But it's my collective opinion, we spend so much on that conversation about those things. I appreciate the strength, but what about the strength that we've had and the representation we have in our own families? What about our grandmothers? What about our grandfathers? What about all of those individuals that brought value to our lives? Now they may not have had it all right, you know, they may not have said everything all correctly. Neither did those people. But we idolize them, you know, for their accomplishments. So tonight, in our brief 1 minute each, we're going to idolize one of our ancestors that may be here or may not be here. Look, you can take yours.
Well, I just want to put my grandmother, Hattie Pearl Willis, on the docket because she was not only a grandmother, she was an entrepreneur. She was also a organizer, community organizer in her own way. And yes, it was all those things in one. So Hattie Pearl Willis.
All right. I'm Hattie. Charles?
I'm just going to say to everybody, as they say, the ancestors, everybody that's put forth that effort, that time, that passion, that conviction to make things different. Those are the people that I always think of constantly. My dad, my uncles, my grandma, all those folks, my sister. So, you know, there's a plethora of folks that have put in work for us to be where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm going to go to and say my mom. You know, I came through a time of where success was not supposed to be the thing for especially for Black women, you know, and watching her evolve from making hats for literally Lucille Ball.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that part because I wasn't here yet, but she, you know, that was a part of her making up of the development of becoming the entrepreneur and businesswoman that she was. And she was making hats for Saks Fifth Avenue back in the 50s. And Lucille Ball was one of her main customers because Lucy loved what she did with hats. And I would not be surprised that if you watch I Love Lucille, maybe some of the hats that she wore on the show was probably some of my mom's creations.
Mm.
You know, and I always take that with a self practice. Lucy would fly from LA to Michigan, you know, to Saks Fifth Avenue, Michigan, to buy hats from my mom. You know, mom took that opportunity and started her own business from that, and then she got tired of making hats. She went into becoming a cosmetologist. And a cosmetologist in the 60s, you know what I mean, was not an easy task, you know, to go through. But finished school, did all of the things that were involved, and in 1965, 65, she opened her own shop and had 12 operators up under her in her own shop in a time where that wasn't supposed to happen, you know? So I celebrate her. I salute her all the time. But in this moment, that's my Black History moment, you know, and I can go into my granddad, but that's another story. But, you know, and so we encourage you, don't go outside of yourself. Celebrate your family. Celebrate those people that have made strides in your family. You know, go back and look at what happened with your grandparents and what have you. Look at their accomplishments. You know, and this what starts the opportunity to the change that we are speaking at the Black institution should be doing. Mm-hmm. You should be encouraged to even do that in a Black institution. Celebrate your family members. You know, celebrate them. Let that be your Black excellence for this month. Okay. All right. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. And as we salute off to the Black History set aside time, but it's Black History every day. And it's, in my opinion, it's Black excellence every day. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mama Hattie. Mm-hmm. Thank you for all of Charles' ancestors and the ones that he referred to as being a example of what excellence is. Mm-hmm. That we can propel and keep making the necessary adjustments for those that are looking at us. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, guys. It's been a wonderful night here on what? The Truth Behind the Truth. Yep. And we will see you back here next Tuesday to shed some more light on Donald Trump. Anyway, y'all have a powerful, powerful, powerful rest of the week. Enjoy. Go out and love on somebody. All right? Because they need your love and you need their love. All right? Take care. Thank you for tuning into what? The Truth Behind the Truth. Good night.